the president is goading us into, wants to goad us into impeachment every single day. Whether it's obstruction of having people come to the table with facts, ignoring subpoenas and the rest. Every single day, the president is making a case. He's becoming self-impeachable in terms of some of the things that he is doing.
Donald Trump is proving Speaker Nancy Pelosi right. And this week, uber conservative columnist George Will made much the same point, writing that Donald Trump's refusal to cooperate in Congress's impeachment inquiry, as well as his decision on Syria, is the type of self-impeachment Speaker Pelosi predicted. He added that Republicans have failed to preserve congressional power, writing that, in his view, in 13 months, all congressional Republicans who have not defended Congress by exercising the constitutional rights of the place should be defeated. And joining me now is Lawrence Tribe, Harvard professor of constitutional law and author of To End a Presidency. It's always good to talk to you, Professor Tribe. I want to first jump in.
Good to be here.
Thank you. And on this term, self-impeachment. Is that a thing? Because now you've had both George Will on the right and Speaker Pelosi on the left both use it.
Well, it's a rhetorical thing, but the truth is that the President of the United States has betrayed his oath. He's betrayed the people of the United States by using our foreign policy and military power for his own benefit and his own re-election. Ukraine Gate is a very serious matter, and the evidence is already in to impeach the president for high crimes and misdemeanors. The only reason that the House needs to wait until Thanksgiving or whenever is that there's a little more detail to be filled in. Fiona Hill will testify, the ambassador to the European Union will testify. Not everyone will defy subpoenas. I think it's important to recognize that it is the betrayal of the country and the abuse of power that is at the center of what this man needs to be removed for. His stonewalling is secondary, although that, too, is an impeachable offense.
Okay, I want to break that down into those two pieces, right? Because you have the Ukraine Gate part of it that most people, I think, are now, that moved a lot of conservative Democrats to finally give Speaker Pelosi the votes. If you don't have 225, I believe, votes for at least the impeachment inquiry. So that seems to be set in stone. That's over the Ukraine Gate part of it. But on the part about defying subpoenas and telling people they shouldn't show up when they're subpoenaed, you just had the former Ukrainian ambassador defy that and actually show up anyway. Donald Trump just lost a big case. He lost a federal appeal over a subpoena for his financial record. So it doesn't seem like the courts, even stacked by Donald Trump and Mitch McConnell, are necessarily going to support him saying he can't, that he could defy subpoenas. Could defying subpoenas by the impeachment inquiry itself, that become impeachable?
Well, it certainly was in the case of Richard Nixon in Article 3. And when the White House laid down the gauntlet and basically said, we spit on Congress, we don't want anyone to cooperate, that signal in itself, even though it's not going to be heeded by everybody, that signal in itself is a defiance of Congress and an obstruction of the impeachment process. And as you said, the courts are beginning to hold that the president is violating the law, although it must be said that in the recent D.C. Circuit decision, one judge, the judge who was appointed by Donald Trump, had a rather remarkable dissent in which she basically said that Congress has to stop investigating the president as soon as it comes upon impeachable offenses. Very bizarre opinion by Judge Rao.
Right.
But I think if any of these cases get to the Supreme Court, the president is going to lose. He's going to lose even the votes of conservative jurists. But we don't need to wait for the courts. The president has defied the Constitution. He's betrayed his oath. He's betrayed more simply than our allies, the Kurds. He's betrayed our efforts against ISIS. He's betrayed the nation. And of all of those things, horrible as some of them are, the most obviously impeachable is his using his presidential power to shake down an ally against an adversary in order to create dirt against a political opponent. This is what the framers invented the impeachment power for, and it's got to be used, and it's got to be used promptly.
Well, okay, promptly I think is the key here, because there are a lot of folks out there in the world that are watching this happen and wondering, why not just proceed to a vote on impeachment now?
Well, the word now is a little elastic. The reason we're not doing it today rather than in several weeks is that the public is only beginning to wake up to what's going on. 40% of the people in a recent poll didn't really know that the president had mentioned Joe Biden in this call with President Zelensky. But people are coming along. They're learning the facts. In many recent polls, over half the people are ready to see the president impeached and removed. And as soon as the public is there, the time will be right. So it's a question of detail, precisely when Nancy Pelosi decides to have articles of impeachment presented through the Intelligence Committee and then the Judiciary Committee. But right now, we're in the end game with respect to impeachment. We have to keep investigating anyway. The president is not going to get away with all kinds of offenses simply because we've got him on impeachable offenses already.
Right. And could the House break up an impeachment vote and say the obstruction of the impeachment inquiry itself, in our view, is impeachable, vote through articles of impeachment, send those to the Senate, and then keep investigating him to add potentially additional counts?
Yes, although the one I think they should send first is not the technical sounding one about subpoenas, but the fundamental one of betraying his oath and abusing his power by essentially siding with his buddy Putin against Ukraine and using his leverage over Ukraine in order to get reelected. That is the smoking howitzer in the picture, and that should be the first and central object of an impeachment charge.
And let me ask you this, because the other thing that confuses a lot of people is how can people, other than Ms. Yovanovitch, who very bravely defied the White House and the State Department and showed up when she was called to come and testify, how is it that people get away with saying, nope, I'm not going to show up? Isn't that illegal?
It's illegal, but right now the main law enforcer is in the hip pocket of the president. That's William Barr. Happily, that's not true of the head of the Southern District of New York office, the U.S. Attorney Berman. He is proceeding to investigate, it would appear, even Rudy Giuliani. And those matters are going forward. And I imagine that in the conspiracy to shake down Ukraine, co-conspirator individual number one is likely to be Donald Trump, even though under the misguided OLC policy he won't be indicted until he is out of office, which I think is not going to be quite as long from now as he might hope.
Wow, yeah, and exactly, and that's when the exposure to all of the Justice Division, not federally, but just in New York as well, becomes all available. Professor Lawrence Tribe, it's always great to talk with you. Thank you so much for laying that out. Thank you. And coming up